The old communication device buzzed loudly, waking June from his short nap. He rubbed his tired eyes and reached for it, knocking over an empty cup in the process. His small living quarters were messy, filled with tools and spare parts from his many repair jobs. "June here," he answered, his voice still rough from sleep. "Got a job for you," said Hannah, his boss. Her voice was clear and sharp, as always. "Big one. Good pay." June sat up straight. Good pay meant he could finally fix his own ship and pay off some debts. "What kind of job?" "Salvage. There's an abandoned ship floating near the edge. Looks like a luxury transport. Been missing for 3 months with no distress call. Could be worth a lot if the systems are still good." June walked to his small window and looked out at the busy spaceport. Ships of all sizes came and went, carrying people and goods across the stars. His own repair shop sat in one of the cheaper areas, where he fixed anything from small engines to ship parts. "Any idea what happened to it?" June asked. Abandoned ships could be dangerous. Sometimes crews left for good reasons. "That's part of the mystery," Hannah said. "And part of why I'm paying extra. I need someone who can check the systems and tell me if it's worth towing back. Your skills with old ships make you perfect for this." June thought about it. Mystery ships meant risk, but his reputation as a mechanic was built on taking on jobs others couldn't handle. His hands could fix almost anything, and people from many worlds came to him for help. "Send me the details," he said. "When do we leave?" 2 hours. Meet at Dock 7. Bring your tools." The call ended, and June quickly began packing. He filled his large case with specialized tools, diagnostic equipment, and spare parts that might be useful. As he worked, his door slid open. "Heard Hannah's got a big job," said Ty, leaning against the doorframe. Ty worked in the shop next door, fixing smaller devices. "Something about a ghost ship." "Just abandoned," June corrected. "Nothing ghostly about it." Ty shook his head. "Be careful. I heard some traders talking about pirates in that sector. Ships don't just disappear without sending help signals. Pirates usually strip ships clean," June said, closing his tool case. "Hannah says this one's intact." "Which makes it stranger," Todd pointed out. "Just watch yourself." June nodded. Todd worried too much, but he was often right. "I will. It's just a quick check to see if it's worth salvaging." 2 hours later, June stood at Dock 7, watching Hannah's ship prepare for departure. The Star Chaser wasn't big, but it was fast and reliable. Hannah had been a military pilot before starting her salvage business, and her ship showed it. Clean, well-maintained, and ready for trouble if needed. "June," Hannah called from the loading ramp. She was tall with short black hair that framed her serious face. "Get aboard. Day is coming too for security." June nodded at Da, a quiet man with strong arms and quick eyes. If there was trouble, Da knew how to handle it. Once aboard, Hannah showed them star maps and the last known position of the missing ship. "It's called the Jade Empress *", she explained. "High-end transport for wealthy travelers. Disappeared during a routine trip. No distress calls, no debris. Nothing. Then yesterday, a cargo ship picked up its beacon, weak but still working." "Why not call authorities?" June asked. Hannah smiled. "By the time they respond, someone else will have claimed it. Salvage rights go to the first responder in the fringe. This could set us up for a year if the ship's systems are intact." As the Star Chaser lifted off, June felt excitement and worry mix in his stomach. The pay would solve his problems, but Tay's warning echoed in his mind. Ships didn't just disappear without reason. Whatever happened to the Jade Empress they would soon find out. As soon as Hannah and Day left, June ran to the engine room. His mind was already working on how to break the Stellarade locks. Such locks were made to be almost unbreakable, but almost meant there was still a way. He gathered what he needed quickly: power cells from the emergency systems, cooling fluid from the engines, and metal parts he could reshape into tools. When he returned to the cargo hold, Neri watched him with cautious hope. "What is your plan?" she asked through the translator. "Stellarite is strong, but it changes when electricity and extreme cold hit it at the same time," Jun explained as he worked. "It becomes brittle for a few seconds." He had learned this trick years ago when working on a mining ship. It wasn't common knowledge. Most people just used special stellarite cutters. But Jun had always found his own ways to solve problems. "Will it hurt the cubs?" Neri asked, concern clear in her voice. "No, but they should move back when I do this," Jun said. Neri growled softly to her cubs, and they huddled in the far corner of the cage, all except Mino, who watched Jun work with curious eyes until Neri gently pulled him back with her paw. Jun connected power cells to the first lock, then prepared the cooling system. He checked his communicator. 15 minutes had passed already. "Ready?" he asked. Neri nodded. Jun activated both systems at once. Electricity sparked through the lock while cooling fluid brought its temperature down rapidly. The lock made a high, sharp sound, then cracked. Jun quickly hit it with a metal bar, and it broke apart. One chain fell away from Neri's neck. "It worked," Jun said, already moving to the next lock. 3 more to go. He repeated the process on the lock holding her front legs. This one took longer to crack, and Jun felt sweat on his forehead as he worked. His communicator beeped, showing a message from Hana. "Ship approaching. Looks like a smuggler vessel. 5 minutes until they dock." Jun worked faster. The second lock broke, freeing Neri's front legs. She stretched them, showing sharp claws that had been hidden before. 2 more, Jun said. The third lock was the hardest. It wouldn't crack at first, and Jun had to try twice. Precious minutes ticked by. Finally, it broke, freeing one of Neri's back legs. Just as he started on the last lock, his communicator buzzed again. They docked. "Get ready." Hannah's voice was urgent. Jun's hands moved quickly, connecting the systems to the final lock. Sweat dripped into his eyes, but he didn't stop. The lock cracked, and with one powerful swing, he broke it open. Neri was free. She shook herself, the broken chains falling away. For the first time, Jun saw her full size and strength. She was magnificent, taller than an earth lion, with powerful muscles under her golden-red fur. "The cub's cage," she said, moving to where her children were kept. The cub's cage had a simpler lock. Jun opened it quickly, and the 3 small Mawa rushed to their mother, rubbing against her legs and making happy chirping sounds. "We need to hide," Jun said, hearing distant sounds of the ship's airlock opening. "The smugglers are here." He led them to a storage room near the cargo hold, filled with containers that provided good hiding places. The cubs climbed into a large crate, while Neri positioned herself behind a stack of boxes, ready to spring out if needed. Jun gave Mino a gentle pat before closing the crate lid partway. "Stay quiet," he whispered. He turned to Neri. "I'll try to lead them away from here. When it's safe, get to the lower deck. There's an escape pod there." Neri's amber eyes locked with his. "We fight together," she said. "My cub's safety is yours now, too." Jun nodded, touched by her trust. He checked his makeshift weapons, a heavy wrench and a metal pipe. Not much against guns, but better than nothing. They heard voices approaching, rough and angry, 4 or 5 people at least, talking about their valuable cargo. Jun took a deep breath. The real fight was about to begin. The medical bay of J1's salvage ship hummed with soft lights and careful movements. Hyrie lay on a large medical bed, her iridescent fur now clean and slightly less dull. Her 3 cubs nestled close to her, their tiny bodies finally relaxed after days of fear and hunger. J1 worked carefully, his hands moving slowly as he prepared nutrient solutions and medical treatments. The universal translator sat nearby, occasionally beeping as it tried to make sense of the complex sounds Hyrie made. Her language was a mix of low growls, high-pitched clicks, and subtle body movements that seemed to carry deep meaning. "Your cubs will be okay," J1 said softly, checking the medical readings. He didn't know if she fully understood, but something in his tone seemed to calm her. Hyri's eyes, large, golden with vertical pupils, watched him carefully. They were the eyes of a predator, but also of a mother. She had been through too much to trust easily, but J1 had proven himself different from the slavers who had captured her. As he worked, she began to tell her story. The universal translator struggled at first, but slowly pieced together her words. The coral were not just another alien species. They were survivors of a massive galactic conflict that had nearly wiped them out. Once, they had been a powerful civilization with advanced technology and complex social structures. Now, they were scattered, hunted, and close to extinction. Her clan had been traveling through a remote star system when the slave traders attacked. They were looking for rare species to sell to the highest bidder. Hyri had fought hard, but they had weapons she couldn't fight against. Special nets that trapped her, energy chains that weakened her amazing strength. The cubs were her future. Each one carried the hope of her entire species. The youngest, a small male with lighter fur, was named Wu. The middle cub, a female, was called Mina. The oldest, another female, bore the name Jaiyun. They were the last of a proud lineage that had once ruled entire star systems. J1 listened carefully. He had heard many stories in his years as a salvage mechanic, but this was different. This was personal. These were not just aliens. They were a family fighting to survive. He prepared special nutrition packs. They were designed for humans, but had been modified to work with multiple alien species. The medical computer helped him adjust the mixture, adding supplements that would help the cubs regain their strength. Mina, the middle cub, was the most curious. She would peek out from behind her mother, her eyes watching J1's every move. When he placed a small bowl of nutrient liquid near her, she approached carefully, sniffing it before taking a small drink. Hyri's low rumble seemed like a mix of warning and approval. J1 understood it as a mother's protective sound, universal across all species. As hours passed, the cubs grew stronger. Their fur began to shine more brightly. Their movements became more playful. Wu, the smallest, even attempted a small pounce that made J1 chuckle. It was a good sign of recovery. The medical bay, once a place of tension and fear, now felt like a sanctuary. A human and an alien species brought together by chance and survival, sharing a moment of healing and hope. J1 knew their journey was far from over, but for now, they were safe. They were alive, and that was enough. 3 months had passed since the rescue. The refugee sanctuary was unlike any place J1 had seen before. It floated in space, a massive ring-shaped station built specifically to protect rare and endangered species. Hyri stood at the window of her new home. The station was a marvel of design. Part research center, part safe haven, part living space. Her cubs played nearby, their bodies now strong and full of energy. Wu, the smallest, chased a holographic projection of cosmic butterflies. Mina studied a complex learning device, her curiosity growing every day. Jaiyun practiced movements that showed the strength of her species. J1 visited often. His salvage company had given him a special assignment to help the coral rebuild and understand their new home. The diplomatic courts had recognized his unique connection with Hyri and her family. "Look," J1 said, showing Hyri a star map. His universal translator worked smoothly now, translating not just words, but the subtle meanings behind them. "These are the systems where your people once lived." Hyri's golden eyes studied the map. Her people had been great travelers once, powerful, advanced, now reduced to this, a handful of survivors in a protected sanctuary. The station was more than just a safe place. It was becoming a center of hope. Scientists from different alien species worked together, helping the coral recover their history, their culture. Genetic experts worked to understand how the species could grow stronger. Language specialists tried to piece together the complex communication systems of the coral. Bong Bong, the service robot, had become an unexpected hero. The robot had been modified to help care for the cubs, to assist in their learning. It could now translate coral body language almost as well as the advanced translation devices. One day, a special ceremony happened. Representatives from multiple alien species gathered. They recognized J1's role in saving Hyri and her cubs. It wasn't just a simple thank you. It was a formal acknowledgement of his actions. You saved more than just a family, the Orion Cooperative representative told him. You saved a possibility, a chance for an entire species to continue. Hyri approached J1 during the ceremony. Her movement was different now, more confident, less scared. She touched his arm, a gesture of deep respect in her culture. The cubs watched carefully. The sanctuary was teaching the coral how to survive again, how to hope again. Special programs helped them learn about the current state of the galaxy. Technology classes, cultural exchange programs, medical rehabilitation. Wu, the smallest cub, had become something of a celebrity. His playful nature and quick learning impressed everyone. Mina showed signs of becoming a great leader, always watching, always learning. Jai Yun practiced the ancient fighting techniques of her species, keeping their traditions alive. J1 knew his life had changed forever. What started as a simple salvage mission had become something much bigger. He had become a bridge between species, a symbol of hope. As the ceremony ended, Hyri looked at J1. No words were needed. They had been through too much together. They were more than rescuer and rescued now. They were something like family. Outside the station, stars continued to shine. Millions of possible worlds. Millions of possible stories. And here, in this small sanctuary, a new story was just beginning. Neri. Jun repeated the name, nodding slowly. We found your ship abandoned. What happened here? The translator worked to convert Neri's growls and rumbles into words. Hunters came. They killed crew. Took others. The translation was simple but clear enough. They keep us for selling. Cubs worth much money to collectors. Hana and Dad exchanged worried looks. Illegal pet trade, Dad said quietly. The worst kind. June moved closer to the cage, still careful not to make sudden movements. How long have you been here? Many days without food. Little water. Neri's amber eyes never left June's face. They will return soon. Always return. June opened his pack and took out emergency ration bars. He pushed them through the cage bars. Neri sniffed them before taking one and breaking it into pieces for her cubs. The smallest cub stumbled as it moved toward the food, clearly weak from hunger. It broke June's heart to see them suffering. We need to get them out of here, he said, turning to Hana. It's not that simple, Hana replied. Those chains are stellarite alloy, made specifically to hold Mawa. We don't have the tools to cut them. June examined the chains more closely. They connected to heavy locks embedded in the cage walls. I can figure it out, he said. I just need time. But time was something they might not have. Neri pushed another series of sounds through the translator. Why help us? Humans put us here. Not all humans are the same, June told her. What they did was wrong. Against our laws, too. While they talked, one of the cubs, the curious one who had moved forward earlier, approached the cage bars. It was slightly larger than the others, with a distinctive white patch on its chest. It watched June with interest, making small chirping sounds. Mino is brave, Neri said, noticing June watching the cub. Too brave sometimes. June smiled. Hello, Mino. The cub chirped again, reaching a small paw through the bars. June carefully held out his finger, letting the cub touch it. The contact was gentle, the paw pad soft against his skin. I will get you out, June promised, looking from Mino to Nari. All of you. His communicator buzzed sharply. Hana answered it, her face growing tense as she listened. "We have a problem," she said after disconnecting. "Ship sensors just picked up another vessel approaching. Fast." "The hunters," Nari growled. The translator barely needed to convey her fear and anger. Day checked his weapon. "We need to leave. Now." "We can't leave them," Jun insisted, looking at the family of Mawa. "If those are the traffickers, there could be many of them," Hannah said. "And they'll be armed. We're just 3 people with 1 gun." Jun looked around the room, his mind racing. His eyes fell on his tool case, and an idea began to form. "I need 15 minutes," he said. "I think I can break the locks with parts from the ship's engine room." Hannah shook her head. "We don't have 15 minutes. "Then buy me time," Jun insisted. "Take the ship out and hide it behind the nearby moon. Make them think the asterisk Jade Empress asterisk is still abandoned. When they dock, I'll have Nari and the cubs free." "That's too risky," Day argued. But Jun had already made up his mind. He turned to Nari. "If I stay and free you, will you help me fight them if needed?" Nari's eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. The translator conveyed her answer in simple words, but her growl needed no translation. "Free my cubs. Free me. I will fight." Jun nodded and turned to Hannah. "It's our best chance. Get going. I'll contact you when we're ready." Hannah looked at him hard, then nodded once. "You have 20 minutes. Then we're coming back, ready or not." As Hannah and Day left, Jun opened his tool case and looked at Nari. "Let's get those chains off." Mino chirped happily, as if understanding that things were about to change. "I found something strange," Jun said into his communicator. "A hidden door in the cargo area. Not on any ship plans." "Wait for backup," Day responded immediately. But Jun was already examining the security panel next to the door. It was damaged, with wires hanging loose. Something or someone had tried to break it from the inside. "I think I can bypass this," Jun told the others. "Whatever's in there might need help." He pulled tools from his case and connected a small device to the damaged panel. Jun was good with locks. Years of fixing broken ship parts had taught him how things worked and how to make them work again. The scratching sound came again, more urgent now. "Almost there," Jun whispered, though he knew whatever was inside couldn't understand him. The panel lights flickered, and with a hiss, the heavy door slid open a few inches before stopping. Jun pushed his shoulder against it, forcing it to open wider. The smell hit him first, strong and wild, like a zoo or animal pen. His light swept across the room, and Jun froze at what he saw. In the center of the room stood a large cage made of thick metal bars. Inside was a creature unlike any Jun had seen before. She looked like a huge lioness, but with golden red fur that seemed to shimmer even in the dim light. Her face was wider than an earth lion's, with more intelligence in her large amber eyes. Heavy chains connected her neck and legs to the cage walls, giving her little room to move. And huddled against her side were 3 small cubs, their fur fluffier and lighter in color than their mother's. When the light touched them, the mother growled, showing sharp teeth. She moved to shield her cubs with her body, the chains rattling as she did. "Stars above," Jun breathed. He recognized what she was from pictures and news stories. A Mawa, a rare intelligent species from a distant system. They rarely left their home world, and were protected by galactic covenant laws against capturing or trading sentient species. Someone had broken those laws badly. "Jun, what did you find?" Hannah's voice came through his communicator. "You need to see this," he replied, his voice tight. "Bring water and any food we have." The mother Mawa watched him carefully, her ears flattened against her head. Jun noticed how thin she was. The cubs looked weak too, their ribs showing under their fur. "I'm not going to hurt you," Jun said softly, staying near the door. "I want to help." Footsteps approached quickly behind him. Hannah and Day entered the room, both stopping short at the sight. "Is that?" Hannah began. "A Mawa. With cubs," Jun finished. Someone was smuggling them. Day cursed under his breath. This is bad. Really bad. Trafficking protected species carries heavy penalties. For the traffickers, not for us, June pointed out. We need to help them. One of the cubs, slightly larger than the others, moved forward curiously before the mother pulled it back with a gentle paw. Hannah handed June a water container. Try, but be careful. Maewa are strong, even chained. June approached slowly, showing the water container. The mother Maewa watched his every move, tense and ready to attack if needed. He placed the water just within reach of the cage and stepped back. After watching him for a long moment, the Maewa stretched forward as far as her chains allowed and pulled the container into the cage. She drank first, then helped each cub drink in turn. When they finished, she looked at June with eyes that held more than animal intelligence. They understand language, Hannah said quietly. The stories say they can even speak through translators. June pulled out his universal translator from his tool case. It was basic, meant for trade languages, but might work. Hello, he said, holding the translator. My name is June. We want to help you. The translator hummed, converting his words. The Maewa's ears perked up. She made a series of growling sounds that the translator processed slowly. Nary, came the mechanical translation. I am called Nary. The journey to the abandoned ship took 6 hours. June spent most of that time checking his equipment and preparing for different problems he might find. Space made things break in strange ways. He needed to be ready. There it is, Hannah said, pointing at the main screen. The asterisk Jade Empress asterisk floated silently against the black of space. It was much bigger than June had expected, with smooth lines and the kind of design that screamed money. Even in the dim light of a distant star, its white hull shone. No damage that I can see, Da noted, squinting at the screen. Strange. Hannah guided their ship closer. No response to our calls. Ship seems dead, except for the weak emergency beacon. They circled the larger vessel once. No lights, no movement, no signs of what happened. June felt a chill as they approached the main docking area. Ready your gear, Hannah ordered. Da, keep your weapon close. June, focus on getting basic systems online so we can see what we're dealing with. The docking went smoothly. Too smoothly, June thought. If the ship had been abandoned for months, the docking systems should have shown more problems. They put on their spacesuits before opening the airlock, not knowing if the ship still had air. The suits were bulky but necessary. June carried his tool case while Dai held a light in one hand and his gun in the other. The airlock hissed open, revealing a dark corridor. Their helmet lights cut through the darkness, showing a luxury ship interior. Soft carpet, elegant walls, expensive decorations, all intact. Air readings are good, Hannah said, checking her wrist device. Gravity is working at minimum levels. We can take off our helmets, but keep the suits on. They removed their helmets, and June immediately noticed the smell. Stale air with something else. Something wrong. No bodies, Da said, sweeping his light around. But look. His light showed dark stains on the floor, dried blood, and along the walls, scratch marks and signs of a struggle. Something bad happened here, June whispered. Hannah nodded grimly. Let's split up. Da, check the bridge. I'll look at the passenger quarters. June, see if you can get power back. We need lights and computer access. June found the main engineering room after a short walk. Like everything else, it was in surprisingly good condition. He connected his portable power unit to the main system and began the restart process. Come on, he muttered to the ship. Show me what happened to you. After several minutes of work, emergency lights flickered on, bathing the corridors in dim red light. Basic computer systems hummed back to life. Good work, Hannah's voice came through his communicator. I'm checking passenger logs now. Ship was carrying 23 passengers and 12 crew. No sign of any of them. Bridge controls are intact, Day reported. No sign of battle damage. But there's blood here too. Whatever happened, it wasn't peaceful. June walked back through the ship, noting how clean it was aside from the signs of violence. If pirates had attacked, they would have taken valuable items, but everything valuable remained. While heading to meet the others, June passed the cargo section. A faint noise caught his attention. So quiet he almost missed it. He stopped, listening carefully. There it was again, a scratching sound, followed by what might have been a low growl. "Hey," he called to the others. "I'm picking up something from the cargo hold. Going to check it out." "Be careful," Hannah warned. "I found something odd in the ship's records. There's a sealed compartment that doesn't appear on the official design plans." June followed the sound, moving deeper into the cargo area. Most of the cargo containers were still sealed and untouched. The noise grew louder as he approached a heavy metal door at the far end of the hold. The door wasn't on any of the ship layouts he had studied. It had a complex security system, now powered down, and deep scratch marks around its edges. Something was inside. Something that someone had tried very hard to keep contained. June placed his hand on the cooled metal of the door. The scratching stopped, as if whatever was on the other side knew someone was there. The medical bay of J1's salvage ship hummed with soft lights and careful movements. Hyrie lay on a large medical bed, her iridescent fur now clean and slightly less dull. Her 3 cubs nestled close to her, their tiny bodies finally relaxed after days of fear and hunger. J1 worked carefully, his hands moving slowly as he prepared nutrient solutions and medical treatments. The universal translator sat nearby, occasionally beeping as it tried to make sense of the complex sounds Hyrie made. Her language was a mix of low growls, high-pitched clicks, and subtle body movements that seemed to carry deep meaning. "Your cubs will be okay," J1 said softly, checking the medical readings. He didn't know if she fully understood, but something in his tone seemed to calm her. Hyrie's eyes, large, golden with vertical pupils, watched him carefully. They were the eyes of a predator, but also of a mother. She had been through too much to trust easily, but J1 had proven himself different from the slavers who had captured her. As he worked, she began to tell her story. The universal translator struggled at first, but slowly pieced together her words. The Coral were not just another alien species. They were survivors of a massive galactic conflict that had nearly wiped them out. Once, they had been a powerful civilization with advanced technology and complex social structures. Now, they were scattered, hunted, and close to extinction. Her clan had been traveling through a remote star system when the slave traders attacked. They were looking for rare species to sell to the highest bidder. Hyrie had fought hard, but they had weapons she couldn't fight against. Special nets that trapped her, energy chains that weakened her amazing strength. The cubs were her future. Each one carried the hope of her entire species. The youngest, a small male with lighter fur, was named Wu. The middle cub, a female, was called Mina. The oldest, another female, bore the name Jayun. They were the last of a proud lineage that had once ruled entire star systems. J1 listened carefully. He had heard many stories in his years as a salvage mechanic, but this was different. This was personal. These were not just aliens. They were a family fighting to survive. He prepared special nutrition packs. They were designed for humans, but had been modified to work with multiple alien species. The medical computer helped him adjust the mixture, adding supplements that would help the cubs regain their strength. Mina, the middle cub, was the most curious. She would peek out from behind her mother, her eyes watching J1's every move. When he placed a small bowl of nutrient liquid near her, she approached carefully, sniffing it before taking the small drink. Hyrie's low rumble seemed like a mix of warning and approval. J1 understood it as a mother's protective sound, universal across all species. As hours passed, the cubs grew stronger. Their fur began to shine more brightly. Their movements became more playful. Wu, The smallest even attempted a small pounce that made J1 chuckle. It was a good sign of recovery. The medical bay, once a place of tension and fear, now felt like a sanctuary. A human and an alien species, brought together by chance and survival, sharing a moment of healing and hope. J1 knew their journey was far from over. But for now, they were safe. They were alive. And that was enough.